Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing on Wednesday morning, day 3 of our How to Go Raw? Who's made some changes in their diet this week? Who's starting to transition? How are you guys doing? I would love to hear. Please type in the comments below. Luca, good morning.
Good morning, good evening, and good night to all the people from wherever they are watching. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're making changes and that this is helpful to all of you.
Awesome. We have such a great start. We're getting such great comments from all of you who are joining in and taking part, sharing with other people, commenting. It's been an amazing week. And I know a lot of you are feeling inspired to continue or to even begin on a raw food diet. So we're excited for all of you. We welcome your questions. Please put those in the comments each day. All right, so today we have a really fun, kind of scary topic. It's about detox, and I think this is the one topic that kind of deters a lot of people from going on a raw food diet because, you know, we've all heard these scary stories about what detox can be, and rightly so. I've been through it. So, but the thing is, you guys, that we can't get better until we get out the stuff that doesn't belong and that is making us sick. So it's a really good topic and one that you want to inform yourself on before going raw. All right. So, Luca, how about we just start off with an explanation of what is detox? Because this might be a foreign word to a lot of people.
Yes, of course. Detoxification and in general is a natural process of the body to get rid of certain acids, toxins of or mucus or chemicals, artificial chemicals out of the body. It's a natural process that a lot of people don't understand because we are living in the world where it's fear-mongered. Like we have been taught to fear those natural processes of the body, to stop them whenever they are happening. And it's pretty interesting to see. Also, I've heard a lot of people actually tell me like, what is this detox BS? And like, what do you mean? Like, if we weren't detoxing already, we would be dead. Why are all these things like like, why are you all these things like talked about in deeper sense? And I'm like, well, to a point, that person is right, because if our body weren't detoxing, whether we're doing it on purpose or not, we would all be dead because our body is doing it naturally, always. But if we don't take care of ourselves, if we trash our bodies on a daily basis for decades, whether that's physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever, like in every way, we can't expect our body to be healthy and vital and amazing if we're doing absolutely everything against it and against nature and all of its natural processes. So definitely detoxification is needed, at least on a yearly basis, if you don't have any like specific chronic, let's say, or especially degenerative conditions. But yeah, let's go into what can you expect during detoxification and during this transitioning to a new and healthier lifestyle, because during this transitioning, you will be incorporating more healthy foods, more energetic foods. Your body will have more energy to take care of itself. And when that happens, our body is very smart. It's a very intelligent machine that will start to use that excess energy that it now has, that it doesn't have to use for digestion. It will start to use it to purge out, to eliminate, to, let's say, provoke the natural uh, processes to get to clean itself and regenerate itself out. And those symptoms can generally look like cold and flu-like symptoms, changes in bowel movements, aches and pain, vomiting in some cases, fevers, heartburns, lung congestion, loss of energy or exhaustion as because you remove all the stimulants that you're consuming, and now all of a sudden your thyroid and your adrenal glands are no longer stimulated with anything, and now they will start to naturally wake up and regenerate slowly. That's why we also use herbs to support it a bit while we're, let's say, having fatigue during that beginning time where when we are transitioning, if our adrenals are really in that chronic state. Other than that, there's also swelling and itching, and of course there's a lot of, let's say, variety of symptoms that can be experienced, but most individuals do not experience many of these previously mentioned symptoms because, in general, the more toxic the person is, like, it depends literally on the person, on the individual, and what condition he or she is starting at, what are the exact states of their body, and what pace will they actually choose to go in. Will they go more aggressive, more deeper detoxing, or just slowly transitioning to a more and more healthy lifestyle? It depends on them. But in general, the more toxic the person is, the stronger the healing crisis will be. That's why we call it healing crisis, because that's what it is. But remember that these detoxification symptoms, these healing crises, are very important and extremely beneficial. They are not comfortable. That's the truth. Like, Kim has been through it, I've been through it, so many people have been through it. When that is happening, it's very uncomfortable. That cleansing process can be very uncomfortable, as the toxins and poisons in the body are going out of our body. They're going through the elimination channels. They're going through our blood, to the kidneys, through our bowels, through the lungs. Like, the head is draining. Like, a lot of things can be happening. But also, generally, that healing crisis is short-lived. So just give it time, give it the right condition, and be patient. Be sure that in those moments, especially, you're eating all raw foods, mainly fresh fruits and fresh juices, because most fruits have strong antioxidant and astringent properties for helping the body rid itself of those toxins, acids, and mucus. And of course, if you do not feel like eating at that point, do not eat. Let the body rest, and just be sure to drink plenty of fresh juices or pure water, whether that's natural spring water or distilled water. Do not let the body dehydrate. Like, all that you need to do during those fevers or cold and flu-like symptoms, or whatever you're feeling during that healing crisis or detoxification symptoms: hydrate. Hydrate, 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 hydrate. That's the only important thing. Like, everything else your body will do. Just be patient and understand the process. Educate yourself, as we were talking about in day one. And also know for sure, if your diet is 80% or more fresh raw foods, fruits and vegetables, all of those symptoms will be due to the process of the detoxifying that your body is putting itself through at that point of time. But if your diet is 50-50, your symptoms be more of an acid condition, and this can keep your healing crisis or detoxification symptoms hanging on for more days than it should have been. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind also, understand how herbs can help you, but we will talk more in depth about that in our challenge. They can definitely assist and support your journey more easily.
Okay, wonderful explanation. Thank you, Luca. So, if you've read my story, you know how sick I was. I was so near death. And since I was so sick, I had to go through some very challenging detox symptoms. I had a severe issue with anxiety because of the Lyme disease and the Morgellons and everything that I had. So typically when we go through detox, we experience those same symptoms, but even worse. And so of course I experienced extreme anxiety going through this, which was quite challenging to deal with all the other symptoms. And so of course I was concerned that I was getting worse instead of better. And I think everyone goes through this. Do you experience that with your clients, Luca?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon that those things happen.
Right. And that we feel that we're getting worse instead of better when we start feeling all these things. So, but the cool thing is, I was working with a coach at the time, is before I even knew Luca, and she assured me that it's not possible for anything to get worse when on raw fruit only. I really, really wanted to believe her, but I have to admit there were a few times that there was a little doubt there because I felt so horrible. And anytime I would be afraid, I would just repeat over and over in my mind what she said until I started believing it. And it helped me so much. So let's talk about a little bit about what I went through. And as I tell you about my story, I don't want you to think that this is something you're going to go through. Most people are not as sick as I was and will not go through such extreme symptoms. So the symptoms were just, they're pretty terrifying at times. Probably one of the worst instances came about 6 weeks when I was pretty much just raw fruit. I think I might have been eating a salad in the evening. I've talked about the C. diff infection in my colon that was eating my colon from the inside out. And this is what I had to be flown to Florida for 4 or 5 times to put good bacteria in my colon to save my life. Once I went on raw fruit only, the symptoms settled down. So I felt a little better that maybe this was going to take care of it. But around 6 weeks into raw fruit only, I started getting severe pain in my colon, just like I used to with the C. diff. So I was very terrified, to say the least. And so I started taking some essential oils to try to kill the infection. The pain continued through the day, the anxiety increased. By the time my husband got home, I was sobbing and I felt like I was gonna die. Suddenly, I mean, just as soon as he walked in the door, I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. I ran to the garbage and threw up a really sizable, maybe like this big, gray mass came out at me. Instantly, like that, I felt better. The anxiety went away. The pain was no longer in my colon. It never came back again. I never, ever had an issue with C. diff. Again, I had been struggling with it for 2 or 3 years. People say you can never get rid of it. It was gone. It was completely gone. So sometimes we have to go through something a little scary to get better. I experienced a lot of other scary symptoms. Had a huge boil break out on my neck one day. It was big. It's very painful. I had horrible rashes, lesions appear upon my skin. If you watch my Rejuvenate Raw webpage, you've probably seen a lot of these pictures. It's intense. Other times I had the typical symptoms of chills, fevers, and body aches. But the good news is that I really don't get severe symptoms anymore. The worst it gets now for me is maybe I'll wake up in the middle of the night when I'm like doing a juice fast and I feel a little nauseous, a little body aches. I used to get like extreme fatigue, but I haven't dealt with that in so long. And now I'm just full of energy and it's amazing because the longer we go, the longer we detox, the cleaner we get and the easier it gets. Somebody asked me yesterday how long were the worst symptoms. And I think it lasted probably for the worst of it was the first 6 months for me. I still had at times some severe symptoms, even up until about a year and a half into detox. But by the time I got to the second year, man, it's getting a lot better. So I know I still have many years to go. It takes years and years to detox the body, but it gets easier. So I want you guys to just know that, just have to get through the hard part and then it gets better. All right. So Luca, did you want to add anything to what we talked about, what you talked about earlier as far as the points we were covering today, or did you cover everything? I do have a question that came up for you.
Yeah, I mean, I covered everything
Okay.
that we had for today, so you can just go on with the question.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Is it possible for someone who is fully raw to get their kidneys to filter? We haven't even talked about kidney filtration yet. Does it take longer than it does on all fruit? Once kidneys do filter, they continue to filter, or must you be 100% raw to always see ideal filtration? I've seen success stories of people going all raw, but not all fruit. I'm wondering if they are truly detoxing or just hyper nourishing the body. So do you want to just touch briefly on what kidney filtration is, and then we can answer her question?
Yeah, I mean, kidney filtration is, I mean, a lot of people have been opening, let's say, opening their kidney elimination. Kidney filtration is elimination of metabolic lymphatic waste from the kidneys, and usually you can check that out by peeing in the jar first thing in the morning and letting it sit for 3 to 6 hours. And if you see something cloudy, if you see any sediment, that means that your kidneys are filtering, that you're filtering your metabolic lymphatic waste. But if it's really clear, that means that you have some work to do to open up your kidneys. And yes, you can open up your kidneys with raw foods. You can, of course, it is faster on only fruits, but yes, you can open up with only raw foods, depending, of course, it's pretty individual. Like, as I said, like, I don't know what's your starting point and how you've been eating in the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, what you've been doing. There's a lot of factors involved in this, and a lot of people, like some people get it filtering in 3 days and some people in 1 year. So it's really, really individual, and it takes a lot of details to know specifically to answer that question. But yes, you can definitely start filtering on only raw, on only fruits. It gets to that point faster. If it doesn't happen even on only fruits, then people usually incorporate intermittent fasting and intermittent dry fasting, which opens up the most stubborn kidneys ever. And also, yes, the people on raw foods are definitely detoxing. We all are. Kidneys are not the only elimination channel that we have. I need to definitely put a very big importance on that, because a lot of people think if they're not filtering that they're not detoxing, but that's just not true. Like, we are detoxing all the time, but it is very important to open up the kidneys. That doesn't mean that you will die if you don't open them up, in that sense. So it's also nourishing for the body. So it's both things. They are detoxing and they're also hyper nourishing the body. So it's always all of that. All of the above is good for you, for your health.
Thank you. All right, so I'll just talk briefly about what I did to deal with such severe detox. I learned to really take my focus off of it as much as possible. I remember in the beginning when it's so severe, I knew I had to keep my mind on the fact that I was healing. And so I would sit all day and I would watch testimonial videos of people who transform their health by detoxing, whether it be through the thoughts and emotions or through the diet. And I always felt better. I did deep breathing, and that is key to dealing with these detox symptoms and also transforming my health. And we're going to talk about that during our challenge. You don't want to miss this. It is so important when we talk about the deep breathing. And also, I got pretty good at choosing my thoughts. And I would block out thoughts that I was getting worse, and I would fill my mind with thoughts that knowing that I was getting better. And, I would just find something to do to take my mind off of it. I remember there was one day that was so bad, I couldn't even hardly move. Several, actually. I'd either sit in front of the computer and watch movies, or I think one day it was so bad I had to lay in my bed. But I typically did not allow myself to lay in bed, because for me that said that I was sick. So I would prop myself up on the bar of the kitchen. I would go outside and lay in the sun. I would just find something to do, that anything that would help me feel better. I'd get in the sauna. There's lots of things to do. You could read a book, something to just take your mind off of it. I'd put my headphones on and I would listen to music, and I would dance and I would sing. So it all works, you guys. The important thing is to not feel fearful. That will make it worse. All right, so we need to talk about our actionable step today, because what we talked about on Monday is that when we actually take action, we are strengthening those neural pathways in our brain to help us stay committed to this raw lifestyle. So today we've put in the Units tab, and you'll see if you scroll up on this page, the Units tab, I think it's labeled Healing Crisis. And Luca has a very nice document about the possible symptoms that you could experience while detoxing. So if you are going through it and you're questioning, just scroll through those. And I actually encourage you to look at those before you go through it. So none of this is a surprise. All right, we're running out of time. There's so much more to say, but let's talk about our raw challenge. We've had more questions about that. We're so excited. The page is now ready for sign up. There's 2 ways you can sign up. So you have to have my recipe book to participate, because all the recipe videos were made from that recipe book. And they have, the recipe book has the ingredient amounts in it, which we don't give in the videos. So if you have the recipe book, you just sign up for the challenge. It's a very inexpensive $25 fee to be part of this group. If you don't have the book, you sign up for, I think it's $39.97. That gives you your copy of the ebook. So there's 2 different options. And then from there, you'll get an email to instruct you to go to the challenge group and to ask to join. We'll let you in that. And probably by end of next week, we'll start posting in that group and getting you going, getting you organized to be ready to make these raw food recipes. They're super, super good. And we have so much fun talking with everyone in the group, sharing pictures and talking about our experience, making new friends. You guys are just going to totally love it. So you'll also receive a menu when you sign up, and it'll also be in the Units tab in that group that you can access at any time. All right, if you have questions about the signing up for the challenge or anything about it, please place in the comments here and we'll get to those. But I hope you can join us tomorrow. It's so important. We're talking about changing your kitchen, how to shop, how to have the food ready to go and on hand. So when we get those cravings, we can go to our amazing raw food recipes. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Luca. Great information as always. I hope everyone has a totally awesome day. All right,
Thank you,
Luca, any
guys.
parting words?
Thank you, Kim. Nothing, just like keep going. Everything that you start that is new can be pretty uncomfortable at the beginning because, let's say, lack of experience. And it's always, whenever something you try is new, you're always like nervous and excited at the same time. So just embrace that feeling and just go for it. If you feel drawn to it, if it resonates with you, then you're definitely in the right spot. You're definitely on the right path. So just keep on shining.
Awesome. All right. See you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.
See ya.